you, sir, are restoring trust to government.
Information, I think they call them burn bags. They're supposed to be burned and they didn't get burned.
Less than 1 in 10,000 in 1970, 1 in 12.5 boys.
Think of those numbers. So there has to be something artificially causing this.
So I actually want to jump back into Trump's cabinet meeting, this time utilizing different members from his cabinet because there's a lot there to discuss and debunk. So strap in, leave us a like on the video if you can. It helps us out a ton. It's helped us grow as a channel a bunch, and let's get right to it.
The Federal Reserve's independence comes from a political arrangement between itself and the American public. Having the public's trust is the only thing that gives it credibility, and you, sir, are restoring trust to government. You are weeding out the waste, fraud, and abuse.
I'm especially ashamed here because Scott Bessent is actually smart enough to know this is complete yet he's still saying it. The Fed earns its credibility from being independent and credentialed. It's independent by being separated from politics, not political arrangement between the public. This is gross. Like, what they're doing is making the Fed partisan, and they're trying to pretend that enacts trust and fairness. Trump restoring trust, the guy who lied 30,000 times in his first term, the guy who's firing everyone who tells the truth if the truth makes him look bad. He fired the BLS commissioner for accurately reporting he's lost tens of thousands of manufacturing jobs. How does that restore trust? He fires the Fed governor because his tariffs have caused us to be unable to cut interest rates. How does that restore trust? And he whines about fake news anytime anything negative has ever said about him. Anytime he's been caught in anything, he cried a fake election when he lost, but then won the very next election. How does any of this sow trust? What credibility does he, or quite frankly, the entire MAGA right that cried fake election, fake COVID for 4 years, even have anymore? They're sitting at the kids' tables with crayons, right? They clearly blew through their political capital in the first 3 months of this administration, and they're now underwater on every single issue and panicking to cheat and keep power.
And you've also found many bags of information. I think they call them burn bags. They're supposed to be burned and they didn't get burned, having to do with how corrupt the 2020 election was. And when will that all come out?
Mr. President, I will be the first to brief you once we have that information collected. But you're right, we are finding documents literally tucked away in the back of safes in random offices in these bags and in other areas, which again speaks to the intent of those who are trying to hide the truth from the American people and trying to cover up the politicization that was led by people like John Brennan and James Clapper and others.
I actually love how these losers cannot let this election delusion go. It's so clearly debunked, yet Trump is here still 4 years later doing the I'll have evidence to release in a week bit, and then the evidence never comes, as he's done 20 different times now. Remember when he said that 3 years ago? Like, oh, as if the Democrats were able to mastermind the greatest election heist of all time, doing it without even being in power, leaving behind such little evidence that now the most highly studied election of all time hasn't detected any evidence of this. There's not a single court case that's went Trump's way of this, but yet despite them being these great masterminds, they were dumb enough to leave all the evidence in these little bags in safes and then didn't rid of them when they lost the election, and also let Trump win again 4 years later. Like, oopsies. Like, how are people stupid enough to actually believe this, right? The 2020 election at this point was the most studied election of all time. And we know there was fraud, but it was attempted by Donald Trump in an attempt to thwart the democracy and the votes and the will of the people with fraudulent electors. And it was stopped in large part thanks to Mike Pence. Glad we could solve that. Also, and this is the unanswerable question, why would Democrats do this, go through all this to steal an election, to have power for 4 years and then give it back to Trump?
Less than 1 in 10,000 in 1970, 1 in 12.5 boys.
Think of those numbers. So there has to be something artificially causing this, meaning a drug or something.
I bet if you asked either of these gentlemen what autism is and what it affects and all of this, how's it formed, all of that, none of them would know. I really hate this talking point. It's also really disgusting for what they're trying to do, RFK, with the whole, they'll never work jobs bits that he's done before. Like, never work jobs, I guess is more accurate. But when autism was 1 in 10,000, it was diagnosed as a rare form of schizophrenia, which was also rare and a barely understood diagnosis at the time, which is why that number is so low. More people don't have autism now. We just know more about autism. Most of these diagnoses are people you could talk to for years and never know that they were autistic. This is why you don't let people with no experience in the field and brainworms lead a department. This is why you don't let people study things who think that anyone who has it will never work a job, when the majority of people with autism will live a fully functioning life. Most of these diagnoses, like, hey guys, party of merit though, right? It just so happens that it's a straight white unqualified male that this merit landed them. Like, I'm just saying, these dum-dums have vindicated DEI more than the left ever could have, because look what we get without it.